Welcome to the Create Your Happy podcast, where conscious female creators come together with a shared vision to inspire and empower women as they learn how to fully embrace their humanness, find their unique voice, and collaborate on how together we can change the world. I'm your host, Christy Holt, happiness coach and conscious funpreneur on a mission to change the world one beautiful soul at a time. All right, gorgeous, it's time to get curious and become inspired. It's time to create your happy. Welcome to this week's episode of the Create Your Happy podcast. I'm your host, Christy Holt, and I'm super excited to have with me today the beautiful Gemma Serenity Gorokhoff. And she is a transformational life specialist, host and founder of Real Talk, Real Women, Breaking the Silence Around Abuse show. And I am super excited to welcome you here today to have this incredible conversation about relationship. Welcome to the show, Gemma. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about your incredible story of overcoming, and then let's dive in.
Thank you so much, Christy, to have me. Thank you. Really appreciate that a lot. Yeah. So I am Gemma Serenity Gorokhoff, and I am victorious over 15 years of domestic violence. Beaten, put down, raped, almost killed twice by strangulation, by two different situations, two different stories. One time, 5 years. And as if that was not enough, another time, 10 years. It's like, what has happened there? At the end of the second relationship, abusive relationship, I was done. I knew I did not want that anymore. I knew I wanted out. And I did everything in my power to leave. Somehow, I found myself back home every single night. It's like as if I never left.
Yeah.
That was really, really disturbing. So at some point, I just threw in the towel and said, you know what? Somehow that situation has not killed me yet, but I am not willing to live that any longer. I'm just going to take the only exit strategy I can know that for sure works. Jumping from the 10th floor of the apartment building. Let my body crash down, let my spirit go to heaven and deal with that. Deal about that with God directly as a spirit.
Yeah.
So I was not thinking about death as the end, but death as an exit, like get me out of this life. I had to prepare the window because there is some protection at such a level. And as soon as I was done, and I could actually just jump, simple, just jump. I hear a voice, and there is no physical body around me. My at that time husband was not in the same room, did not know what I was up to, thought that I was probably sleeping or I don't know what. And that voice is the most warm, loving, tender, attentive, embracing voice I have ever heard. My understanding is that it is God's voice. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
And that voice told me, of course you can jump. It's going to work. But I'm going to give you the same life in words. Is that really what you want? So now, Christy, listen to this exact wording, because these were the exact words. Acknowledging that I have the power right here, right now, to indeed end my life. Just jump. Preview of upcoming attraction, you get the same life in words. Free agency, is that really what you want? This is why between the feeling of that voice and the content of the choice of the words, this is why I say it's God. I answered with all my heart in the silence of my body and in the super screaming out loud of that other plane we were talking on. And I said, no, I was done. can really tell you, 15 years, I was not. Okay, so leave by the door. I hear that as the last prompt. I'm giving it a try. Let's leave by the door one more time. It's going to be the 51st time I'm leaving. By the door again. It's 1:30 a.m., middle of the night. Middle of the night, I have never left before. Not that way. This time, I just put on my sneakers and nothing else. I did not have any watch at that moment in time. I did not take my money, did not take phone, did not take ID, nothing. I just took myself out. And I ran down the 10 floors of the apartment building. That was the longest one I did in a long time. Arriving at the bottom, I run, about 10 minutes, not very long. And I cry everything I can. First of all, I'm scared. It's in the middle of the night. Nobody leaves at night. I have no plan. I don't know where to go. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what will happen. I don't know what will happen to my children. I trust they will continue to be fine because the abuse was towards me, not towards my children. And there is not even hope for the best. There is, okay, so what is the next option I have to actually commit suicide? Oh yeah, I can jump here, I can there, oh wow. I mean, when you have that kind of idea, it goes a long way. Now, disclaimer and big warning. Death is not an exit. Death is a portal we will all go through at some point. But if you force yourself through death, you are just back in life, same situation in worse. Is that really what you want? That's my message to you. What? So no, you do not kill yourself when you do not see any exit. You invent another exit that you didn't think.
Yeah.
And that is the only way to create another path. There is no path, create a path. And when I suddenly remembered, because I was really wondering, okay, so now what?
Yeah.
And suddenly I remembered a good man I met 2 weeks prior, something like that, who just dealt with the suicide of his mother jumping from the 7th floor of their apartment building. I must confirm that there was some inspiration there in the bad sense, in the wrong sense. And I thought to myself, well, as he's now alone, he has a couch, he has a small apartment, maybe there is a way, maybe I can crash on his couch, the time to figure it out. And we were just on the phone 2 days prior, and I was telling him all the reasons why I couldn't leave, and he was just answering back to me, well, if you have decided to leave, first you leave, and then you take care of everything that is holding you back. But first you have to leave. And I decided, well, let me walk to his house. And it was a 1.5-hour walk away. I had no intention whatsoever to be caught with any other living being. So I did everything to the T according to the book, walking perfectly well on the sidewalk, safely, not talking to any stranger, straight to my goal, that man. Waiting until he would wake up. We were in the middle of the night. So once that happens, he happens to be the very first one to open the door of the apartment building where he was living. And asking me, okay, so what's going on? And I told him exactly the same sentence he has been telling me countless times during our last conversation. Well, I left, so now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
And I think
left.
I think that that uncertainty of what comes next holds a lot of people captive in the relationship because it's terrifying to face that level of uncertainty, right? Everything as you know it becomes an uncertainty, a question. And we don't tend to, in those moments of stress, look for the positive potentials in that situation.
No.
Because we are so intimately familiar with all of the inner workings of the challenges, the obstacles, the abuse, the mistreatment, the toxic patterns, and all of the things that we're so familiar with. And that feels safe. I'm putting that in air quotes because it's not safe, but to our mind, it is familiar. And our mind likes to equate the familiar with what's safe. And so we really, to answer this question, like, why don't you just leave? Should I stay? Should I go? All of these questions. It's a matter of facing that uncertainty. And I love the advice that he gave because staying in while waiting for clarity just is a recipe for staying in longer. It's not actually a recipe for getting the clarity that we're seeking. So that's, I'm obviously we're all dying to know what happened next.
Of course. So he understands that, okay, I left. And I left without any ID, any money, any phone, any tracking device, nothing. Okay. And I asked him, can I just sleep now? Because 3 nights in a row, 2 days, 2 days in a row, 3 nights in a row, I did not sleep. During the day I was at work, and when I was coming back, I was being constantly verbally assaulted. All night, insulted, assaulted, oh God, unbearable. That also led to that decision. You know what? I am out. I am jumping and gone. Yeah, I ran down and gone. It's much better because there is
I'm
a
really
life.
I'm really glad you picked that route down.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
The fact is that opening up the path to hope, light, a sense of direction, of guidance, daring to say, I need help. I need help.
So hard to do.
It's the hardest thing to do. Now, at such a low level in life, there is a moment when I need help sounds soothing and sounds, can you please carry that burden? It's too heavy for me. It's too heavy to carry alone. And I said that to a psychiatrist doctor who was at the emergency room that day when the new day started after sleeping 3 hours. And that doctor told me, yes, we can help you. And it's absolutely amazing when you realize the value of receiving help, accepting to receiving goodness, accepting to receiving love, respect, consideration. That's you. When you are used to domestic violence, that's you. And it's weird.
Yeah. And we're very conditioned in life to not want to be a burden. So we have this idea that by asking for help, we are burdening another person. But the truth is, if we look at that from the giver's perspective, I know I love to give to someone, and especially if they really, truly need that help, I am even more energized to help them. And yet, when you're on the receiving end, it's so hard because you feel like asking is a burden and that you're going to put someone out. And so the way I like to reframe this is just to consider maybe you're actually giving someone an incredible opportunity to give of their gifts. And what if you didn't block them from that opportunity to give, and you could receive at the same time? What a beautiful gift that would be for everyone involved. And so it's challenging with all of this conditioning, the good girl, be nice, give, be nurturing, especially for women. We have this tendency to overgive, to martyr ourselves, to live up to this good girl conditioning that we've been trained under. And it leads us down the path of people pleasing and martyring ourselves and overgiving to the point of burnout. And it leads to, that is a trauma-based response. And so I did an episode about people pleaser no more not too long ago. We really talked about the background of why and how that happens. But I also want to share too, this leads us into codependent relationships as well, right? Which is a foundation for abuse, and not always, but definitely a strong foundation, because we end up outsourcing the needs that should be met internally. And it's not anybody's fault. It's not about fault or pointing fingers. It's about taking responsibility so that you can change it, so that you can shift out of those unhealthy patterns, so that you can, create the most amazing possible healthy relationship with that deep, intimate connection that you truly desire and that you deserve.
This is true. This is true. I really like how you turn it and how you use it to really do good with that.
Yeah.
To the question, why can't you just leave? I mean, if he hit you one time, he will hit you again. Just leave.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Not.
There are so many strings attached. And I'm going to tell you, and you know it better than I do. The biggest string attached is our own commitment. That is our biggest string attached. We have promised to stay in any circumstances. We have promised to stay loyal. We have promised to stay against all odds. We have promised to stay for the best and the worst. We have promised.
Yeah.
And because of that, we continue. Is it cool? No. Is it good? No. Is it safe? No. Is it healthy? No. Are we happy? No.
It's a trap, isn't it? And we can get so stuck in it. And I know for myself, absolutely, this vow, this promise I made weighed so heavily on me. But I thought, how can I, even if I'm not happy, I don't feel loved, I don't feel respected. Now, I'm also going to just interject here to say it is not someone else's responsibility to make those things happen, in my experience. But back then, I felt all kinds of ways. I wasn't taking personal responsibility for myself. I was expecting my mate to do this. This is, again, that trauma response and this attempt to receive the validation, the love, the acceptance from outside of myself, right? And so that's where things can get really twisted. That's where we can get into these codependent relationships where we're relying on other people to fulfill our needs. And ultimately, it's not someone else's responsibility to do that. So on the one hand, it's like, okay, I'm responsible for me, and I'm not responsible for managing that for anyone else. So how do we create this healthy relationship, two people coming together, when we're both so dependent on one another to have these needs met? And it's a really, really difficult situation to get out of. Again, your brain is shouting at you, stay in the familiar. You don't know, it could be worse. It could be so much worse. And yet it could also be so much better. And so if any of the listeners out there are really feeling, that maybe they're not as happy in their relationship as they would like to be, maybe you are suffering from any form of abuse. And this, I will just say in here as well, that verbal and emotional abuse are abuse, even though in some worlds they seem to be looked at as a bit of a gray area. It's not that bad. It's not physically visible necessarily, but the damage is still being done. And so that is as much grounds as anything else for exiting the relationship. And the question is really, should I stay or should I go? When we're wrestling with this, all we see is the uncertainty. And so I want to offer up just an idea to consider. Also look at the potential, look at the possibility, because all of the things that you long for in your heart, that relationship that you've dreamt of, the one where you wake up and you're happy to be around each other. You can't keep your hands off of each other. You laugh, you have deep conversations, and you love getting out and enjoying time and activities together. This vision that you have for what a relationship could potentially look like, it's for you. It is 1,000% for you. And as long as you are staying, and I do recognize how hard it is to leave, I just want you for a moment to envision the possibility for yourself that dream that's in your heart right now can come true, and you can create and experience that. And it's scary. It's so scary to step out, but it's absolutely worth it. And I know that after you stepped out, you found something pretty incredible, as did I, after going through, the most difficult, challenging, darkest time, the darkest experience in my own journey. I also contemplated how I might remove myself from the stressful situation. Decided against it. Obviously, I really wanted to be here for my kids, and I felt that was really important. But still, the thoughts sometimes are there, and it's a really dark time. So I just want to encourage you that if you're in this kind of dark time, to just allow yourself a bit of those dreams. Allow yourself to consider the possibility and the potential, and step out and do the thing, and just choose loving you so much that everything else becomes a little bit more clear. You get that clarity after you've chosen yourself. So tell us the next little bit of your story, and then we'll go from there.
We can go. Well, that's a great idea. Okay, so all that I just shared with you happened 10 years ago, June 2013. In 10 years, it has been blessing upon blessing, healing, transformation, love, respect, harmony. I met my third, last, and dream husband, Sasha, who is also my business partner, who is also this amazing healer, facilitator, mindset shift expert, human development potential. I mean, he made me blossom in all that I can be. I am not a picture of him. I am my own being, and he loves me for being me. Having that experience is so enriching, and I could have never even dreamed of that before.
Yeah.
But because I opened the door to possibility, and I dared to live by the door and not the window, I actually opened myself up for love, real love.
I think, in choosing ourselves, in accepting ourselves, which is really honestly a challenge in today's day and time, because we've really been conditioned not to. We've been told all the things that are wrong with us. And so we go about trying to hide those things. But the real love comes from accepting all of yourself, all of the parts that you previously may have discarded or tucked away and said, no, it's bad, other people don't like it. But when we start to bring those in, start to embody this whole self, all of yourself, you bring a complete version of you into the next relationship. And when you're complete, you don't need someone to validate you. You don't need someone to love you, to feel like you have value. You respect yourself, and you set boundaries so that you create, as a co-creator in this relationship, the experiences that you truly desire. And so instead of seeking out someone to complete you or whatever, blah, 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 Hollywood bullshit, Seek out someone who completely accepts you for who you are. And when you both come to the relationship loving and accepting of yourselves, you can extend that to the other person. And what happens when you are loving without these expectations? There's standards, absolutely. And there are things that are and are not for us. But when we don't place these unrealistic expectations, fulfilling of my needs on another human, now we can live in this beautiful space where we both show up from a space of love rather than a place of obligation or commitment or just staying because we made a promise. And this means love is a choice every single day. And that just feels so much more incredible than this obligatory, condition-laden version of love that we seem to have picked up along the way. And with this idea of unconditional love, a lot of people don't believe that that's truly possible for humans. They sometimes believe it's possible between them and their child, or maybe with a pet or something like that. But another human, oh no, that's too much. And so I think it's interesting because I think the majority of the conditions that we're creating, the definitions that we're creating about love include these conditions. And those are just beliefs that we're carrying. So what if we could unlearn those conditions? What if we could learn a new definition of love that really truly extends this unconditional, no expectations, no obligation, just free-flowing love? What would that be like?
That would be exactly the life I'm living now. Yeah. And probably you too.
Yeah.
From what I understand. Like a real healthy relationship that takes care of every person, every individual, every facet of the person in the relationship. That empowers, love, appreciate, adore the other. And it goes both ways. It's not one direction, it's both ways. And that allows to be there to have each other's back, to be there to stand by the side of each other, to be there to enjoy each other's presence, to empower each other to be the best version of ourselves, to work on our dark sides and to work on our flaws and our limitations. Yeah. To accept our limitation in one way and to challenge them in another way, but in a healthy and loving way.
Yeah.
It's to help us outgrow ourselves with the others.
Yeah. And it's a completely new way of looking at relationships. You know, it's not like what we've seen on TV or in the movies necessarily. It does feel a lot closer to a fairy tale, but without the charming prince who saves the day, because honestly, we save ourselves at the end of the day, right? We step up and choose love for ourselves. That is what saves us. It's not some knight in shining armor needs to come along. We are the ones who take ourselves out of that victim mentality and make ourselves victorious. We can rewrite the ending. It's not over until you are happy and healthy and peaceful and living your best life. And that's what you deserve.
That's absolutely amazing. So after all of that, I learned real entrepreneurial journey. I learned how to help others. I learned how to transmit what I received. I learned to win and to lose. So now I know how to win and how to teach others how to win. Yeah. At life, at business, at healthy relationships, at love, how to manifest love. All of that is now my daily activities. On one part, there is a show, Real Talk, Real Women, Breaking the Silence Around Abuse. That's a big mother show. And I just launched the second show, Uplift, inspiring stories to uplift the world. Yeah. In the second show, it's still the idea of elevating. But this time, we don't have to be a woman. It can be any other gender or transgender. That's totally fine too. We don't have to have prevailed over abuse per se. It can be any kind of things that happened in life that really requires, okay, now it's courage and resilience. Let's triumph over whatever is going on so that we can uplift each other and uplift others in the realm to give back hope. When you have hope, whatever happens, you keep on going. When you lose hope, you withdraw yourself from life and from this actual current earth. So that's not good.
No,
we want to keep hope going, but hope in a good way. Hope in the sense of, okay, do you have a sense of purpose? Do you have something to look forward to? What is going on? And now what I'm also doing business-wise, and that helps a lot, I'm helping all kind of description of life coaching when someone is focused in her business in the personal transformation of their clients, all kind of ways, okay? But to help them level up their offers so that it becomes an irresistible offer at a high level, like many thousands of dollars in one go, but so that it feels good. So to really help transform their mindset in order to be able to ask higher fees and receive them. And receive the best ever clients they could have ever imagined. And have a blast. And being paid. Good amount of money.
And we deserve all of that. We deserve to have that life that just feels fulfilling. We deserve to feel connected in our relationships. And we deserve to use our mess, what was a mess, and transmute it and transform it into a message and make an impact in the world, because that will cycle us right back into feeling fulfilled. And like all of those struggles that we have gone through are not for nothing, right? They are for the greater good, to share with others, to inspire and encourage other people to overcome perhaps the same or similar situation. And by going first, we lead the way, right? And that is what this show is all about. And going first, learning how to love and accept yourself, because that is the pathway to receiving and feeling all of the love and acceptance that you truly crave. Mm-hmm. I would love for you to share with us how we can get in touch with you, first of all. Mm-hmm. And you did mention a little bit about your show, so that's fantastic. If there's anything else that you wanted to add for any specific offers upcoming, I would invite you to share those as well.
Yes. So gemmaserenity.com, that is the easiest way to get a hold of me. Okay, Gemma Serenity. And in there, you're going to find the links to the shows, the links to the group. There is now a free Facebook group that you can join in order to already have an idea about this amazing 3 months intensive program so that you may attract high-paying clients for your business. So that is a special offer that is going on now. And yeah, gemmaserenity.com, that's the fastest way to get a hold, for sure.
Okay. Perfect.
Simple.
Yeah. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Exactly.
All right. So to wrap up this incredible conversation about relationship and life and the difficult decision of, why don't I just leave? Or should I stay? Should I go? I would love for you to share with our listeners some kind of practical action step that they can go and do today that will inch them a little bit closer to that beautiful destiny that they have awaiting for them.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's the most simple thing to say, and probably the hardest to do. But you're going to decide for yourself what it is. You take a journal, a piece of paper, something to write on. By hand, please. If you can, of course. If you can. You put 2 columns on that paper. On one column, you write why you must leave that relationship. On the other column, you write why you must stay in that relationship. And by doing that work, you will become aware of the reality of your situation so that you may be empowered to make the right decision for you because you have a unique situation. And even though we understand, even though we have been there, done that, it's you. And only you can make the right decision for you. Is it to stay? Is it to leave? Is it to heal? Can you heal while staying? Can you leave and then heal? It's up to you. But write down what is pushing you away, what is keeping you inside.
Yeah, the truth is you're the only one who has the answer for you. You're the only one that has the correct answer, the correct path. Your truth lies within you. So getting really honest with yourself, and that does require a bit of vulnerability. I know, I feel like this was a task I would have avoided when I was in that situation, which is exactly why we ought to be doing it. Sometimes those things that we fear doing the most because they might bring out an emotional response or something that we just honestly have been kind of intentionally avoiding, those can often hold the greatest weight and the most meaningful transformation. So thank you so much for sharing that incredible, simple, yet not so easy to do exercise. Absolutely worth it though, to get a little bit more clarity on where you're headed. So
absolutely.
Thanks so much for this incredible conversation. It has been really, I hope, empowering and inspiring for the listeners. And I know that exercise is going to help some people out there get some clarity today. So with that, I would love to say that I love you all, and let's go do some epic shit, shall we? Mwah. Are you tired of feeling burnt out and overwhelmed by trying to please everyone else? Do you find yourself constantly putting other people's needs ahead of your own, leaving you feeling unfulfilled and resentful? Break free from the cycle of people-pleasing and take back control of your life. Learn how to identify and break free from the patterns of people-pleasing that are holding you back. Learn practical tools and strategies to set healthy boundaries and prioritize your own needs so that you can find a sense of peace and fulfillment in your life. Imagine waking up each day feeling energized and excited about your life. Imagine living life on your own terms. Don't wait any longer to take control of your life and find true happiness. The Path to True Happiness and Authenticity, a masterclass for people pleasers. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. I trust you were inspired to take back your power and create your happy. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with women in your life who could use a little extra inspiration today. If you'd like to connect with myself and or today's guest, you can find those details in the show notes. We would love to hear from you. If you've got an inspiring story to share, you can also apply to be a guest on the show at createyourhappy.ca. As always, get out there, have fun, be you, and create your happy.